Hey guys, this is Angie, also known as The Light. Welcome to my channel. Like, subscribe, and if you'd like to make a donation, my PayPal information is usually in my description box. Thank you to those who have already donated in the past. Okay, I'm so pissed. Oh gosh. I recorded a video. It was 30 minutes long, and I used my laptop, and I tried to upload it today and didn't go through. I have no idea what the hell YouTube is doing, but I'm pissed. Can't figure out how to get it to upload. Maybe God didn't want me to upload that version, so I'm going to try to do another version, and hopefully this video will go through. Okay, so I had someone ask me about, do I know or can I point them to videos on YouTube about narcissistic friends' marriages? I think that's how it goes. Like, your friend is married to a narcissist. I believe that's what the woman was asking me in the past. Okay. So at first, I haven't came across that as yet on YouTube, but there are plenty of people on YouTube who are talking about their own personal experience being married to narcissists. And then I thought about it. I was just like, what am I talking about? I've been around people who have been married to narcissists, of course, including my mom and my stepfather. But then I had a close friend. Her and I are still friends, actually. So that's another reason why I'm drinking a little wine here. Yes, there's ice in my wine. Hate hot wine. But anyway, so I'm like, what is wrong with you, Angie? You do know someone who was married to a narc, and you actually experienced certain things with this particular person. So I'm going to tell you a little story of how crazy it can be married to a narcissist, and how my friend's marriage actually affected me. And, I think I want to tell you this story because sometimes you can have this friend that seems a little odd. Y'all think like the person is being shady when really they're just going through hell. And, you're thinking that, they're acting a certain way because of you, or they're just being a shady person. And sometimes it's not really that. A lot of people hide certain things that is going on in their home. All right. So I'm going to call this friend Michelle. Michelle and I have known each other since 1983. I was born in 1983. Michelle was born in 1982. We are friends because our mothers were friends. Our mothers grew up together. Our mothers went to high school together. Our mothers partied together in their 20s and, settled down in their 30s and, had us and stuff like that, pretty much. So, that's how I know Michelle. Michelle and I are very close, even though we live two different lives now. We don't really talk as much, but we still consider each other to be close to each other. Okay, so Michelle got married very young. I'm going to say when Michelle was 20 and I was 19. And my mom was also very close to Michelle. So we got invited to her wedding. No, I was not at her wedding, which was a little surprising to me. But Michelle had a best friend, and she put that particular best friend to be her maid of honor, her matron of honor, whatever. Her maid of honor, actually. I was a little hurt, I'm not going to lie, that I wasn't in her wedding party. But when I got to the ceremony, I wasn't anymore, because I was pretty much, I had not met Michelle's husband-to-be at the time. And I was pretty shocked when I saw this guy that Michelle was going to marry. This guy looked like a hoodlum. He looked like lost. He looked like a creep, a pervert. He looked like there was no way in hell that he would be able to lead a family, pretty much. And you know when they say like, oh, does anyone want to object, this couple in marriage? I kind of wanted to get up during that ceremony, my mother too, and be like, I object. Like, we could not believe that Michelle even fell for this guy and was marrying like this bum, pretty much. She was already pregnant, so I think that's also the reason why she decided to go ahead and marry this guy. So she married this guy, and after she married him, she ended up moving to Atlanta. And, so I didn't see her for a while. And when she returned, she had 2 more children. And things didn't work out in Atlanta. There was a lot of drama. And I kept hearing a lot of different things, coming through my mom, coming from Michelle's mom. But I had to visit her in Atlanta. I didn't know what the hell was really going on. But I knew that things were not good in her marriage. And at this time, now, Michelle has 3 small children with this guy. So they moved back to New York. And his mother was a pastor, and she had this church. And they ended up moving in an apartment that was like built above the church. So the church is like downstairs, and then it's like apartment was like above the church. So they end up having to go live in this church. And I just thought it was just bizarre that she married this guy. And what's crazy to me is that Michelle came from a 2-parent home. Yes, her mother is narcissistic, by the way, but Michelle came from a 2-parent home. Michelle was the type to take dance lessons, piano lessons, get anything that she wanted growing up. She was basically like the golden child. So it was shocking to me, that she would choose this particular guy to be her husband. So they're living above this church, right? And she comes to me and she's like, oh, I need your help. I need someone to babysit, a few days a week, and I'll pay you. And at the time, money was short. So I was like, okay, sure. Yeah, I can come help you. And we lived in the same city, but I lived further away from her. Like, it was like an hour distance. So she was like, oh, some nights you could just sleep over. Now, I was wondering, why am I getting paid to watch her children anyway when her husband doesn't even have a job? Yes, keep that in mind. Michelle is basically taking care of the family financially. Her parents is putting in money. Michelle is holding it down. He's pretty much a bum, basically. So I come over to the house and I'm helping, Michelle babysit. And I think I was only there for about 2 days because I did end up sleeping over. And there was a point where Michelle was at work and the husband and I were just in the house by ourselves with the children. And he started to tell me these stories about how him and Michelle have threesomes, and him and, he slept with this amount of Michelle's friends and she still stayed with him, and how everybody wants him because his penis is big. And I'm in total shock. Not really like in total shock that he feels this way about himself, or that maybe it has been happening in their marriage, but this the fact that you think that you're going to test me with this shit. That's what really shocked me. So after, this conversation, there was no way in hell that I was going to sleep in this house with this man, because clearly this man wanted to sleep with me. Okay, so there was another incident where I needed a new cell phone, And I believe I had like T-Mobile back then. Like, yeah, I had T-Mobile back then. So, you know, a lot of times what happens is if your phone breaks, people would just swap phones. Like, oh, I'm not using this phone, so they would give you their old phone and you can use it. So I couldn't afford like a really expensive phone at the moment. And she said, oh, my husband has an old phone, an old T-Mobile phone. Do you want it? So I said, yeah, sure, I'll take it. I mean, hey, it was a free phone. I needed the phone. My phone broke. Why not? So I take the phone to T-Mobile, and the guy is going to, take my information from my old account and place it into the new phone that I was going to use. So I say to the guy, can you clear out whatever is in the phone first? Because I don't want like my numbers and their numbers to be, entwined in the phone. He goes, sure. So he proceeds to look through the phone, and he goes, and he looks up at me, and he looks at the phone, and he's like, is this your phone? And I'm like, no, someone gave it to me. I said, my friend's husband gave it to me. And he's just like, miss, there's sexual videos in this phone. There's penis pictures. There's all kind of things, sexual things in this phone. And I was just so embarrassed, okay? And I was just like, sir, though that's not my photos. I don't even know why those photos and videos are in the phone. And the guy was so nice. He just laughed it off. But basically, this freaking narc was that disgusting. He left those sexual videos and pictures and everything in the phone in hopes of me seeing it. Okay? This is how disgusting these narcs are, all right? So when Thanksgiving came around was the next time that I saw Michelle and her husband at Thanksgiving dinner, because this is how close our families are. He said, hey, did you ever use that phone? And I said, no, I didn't. I lied. I acted as if I didn't even end up using his phone, which I really was. And, this is just different things that they do. They will plot and scheme. They will sleep with your sister, your mama, your aunt, your grandmother. Nobody is off limits to these narcs, females or males. If it's a woman, she'll do the same thing. She'll sleep with your daddy, your grandfather, she'll sleep with her stepson. This is how disgusting these narcissists are when you are married to them. There are no boundaries. There are no limits to them, okay? So after that, I just felt really, really uncomfortable. So through the time of their marriage, it started to get abusive because she started to get, I guess, rebellious. So there was times where he put a gun to her head. There was times where he, took out knives. They had to fight. She had to keep going back and forth to her parents' house, So eventually she does leave him, and she has to go to court with him and go back and forth. And she decides that she's going to move to Texas. So when she originally goes to Texas, she decides to take him. I told this girl, why would you take him down there? Why would you do that? After all this man has done to you, you're going to take him out into another state. So she takes him to Texas with her. And it still proceeds. The whole abusive, the physical abuse, the cheating, the not working, not taking care of their children continued, okay? So eventually they do separate. And back in 2013, she hits me up and she's like, oh, you know what? You always said that you wanted to, like, move out of New York. Why don't you come to Texas and come check it out? When I think back to it, I don't really think it was more of like her trying to help me. It was more of she did not want to live in her home by herself with her 3 children. That's what I feel. So it was just like, you know what? I need Angie and she needs to get, into a different situation. being that I wanted to move out of my narcissistic grandmother's home, I decided to take that risk and go to Texas. So I go to Texas, and for the first month, it was excellent. You know, me and her got along. It was great with the children. We did so many different functions. It was really cool. It was like, I was like being like the second mom to her children. I had a good time, you know. I really enjoyed just it being us. Month 2, her ex-husband is coming back into town from Texas because he was traveling with a reggae group. Okay, this was his job. And it's funny how, I'm not going to say which reggae group he toured with, but it was just so amazing to me how this guy barely took care of his children financially the entire 10 years that they're together. But all of a sudden, you know, he's working and he's able to take care of them financially, and he still doesn't. You know, he gave things from time to time, but he never fully financially or emotionally took care of his children. And you're not going to get that from the narc. And a lot of people who do have children with narcs, they go through this, you know, this tit for tat thing of trying to make them to be parents, and it's not going to happen. They simply do not have the heart, the love, the empathy, you know, the care to even be parents. Okay. So I told her, no, she tells me that he's going to come into town. And I said, well, you need to make sure he stays in a hotel or he's staying somewhere else. I don't think that you should be letting this man in the house with us. And she's like, well, I have to let him in because that's my child's father. And, you know, just defending him. And I'm like, I'm telling you, this guy is trouble. Don't let him in the house. What does she do? She picks him up from the airport and she lets him in the house. It seemed like when he got in the car, he was just like angry. He was just furious. Like he came there. It was like he came there for blood. That's the sense that I got from him. You know, and it seemed like he was upset that I was there. Like I'm blocking what he wanted to do. I'm blocking his manipulation tactics on her. So it looked like, you know what? I got to get Angie out this house because I need to continue to use Michelle. That's basically the vibe I got. Keep in mind, when you're with the narcissist, when you're dating them, when you're married to them, they don't want you to be close to anyone. Because if you do have great relationships with your friends, with your neighbors, or with your parents or whoever, they can't manipulate you. They can't manipulate the situation. Okay, so I'm trying to speed this story up because there's a lot of details. So he had not even been at the house a week when I had a dream. And this is how I always feel like, you know, there's different ways that God will talk to you, and one of the ways that God talks to me is through my dreams. So my mom has passed on almost 12 years now, but sometimes she comes to me in my dreams. And I know a lot of people say, oh, when you dream of dead people, it's Satan. For me, that's not the case, and I don't believe that. You know, a lot of times my mom has come to me in my dreams, and they have always been warning dreams. And I'm so grateful for that, okay? And every time she did come to me, something did come to pass. And it just was, you know, there to comfort me and to give me a warning. So this one particular morning, I wake up about 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just like, oh, God. And she, you know, Michelle is in the room, and she says, what's wrong? Because she was up getting ready for work. And I said, Michelle, something is going to happen today. I don't know what it is, but something is definitely going to happen today. I had a dream about my mother. We were talking. It seemed like she was being comforting to me. And she had on all blue. And blue means peace, if you don't know. I said, so we're going to definitely need peace from something. She was like, oh, you know what, Angie, maybe that's true, but go back to sleep, and I'll see you about 1 p.m. I'm just going to go into work for a few hours. So I said, okay. She said, I'll call you when I get out of work. So about 12 o'clock, she called me. Keep in mind, I'm in the master bedroom, and this this demon, he's in the living room sleeping on the couch. Okay, the children have their own bedrooms. Okay, so me and Michelle, we share the master bedroom. So she calls me at 12 o'clock, and she says, well, can you get the children ready? Because I'm going to be home by 1 p.m. and we're all going to go to a children's birthday party. So I'm like, okay, cool, no problem. So I decide to go to the kids. I get them dressed. So now I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go get dressed. So I get into the bathroom. I'm in the bathroom that's in the master bedroom. So I go into the bathroom. I'm in the shower. I take a quick shower, and I hear Michelle when she comes in the house. I can hear that she's walked in the house. And then I hear her arguing, going, what the hell are you talking about? I'm not even looking at you. What are you talking about? And I'm in my head like, what the hell is going on out there? So, like I quickly dry off. I have like a shower cap on and, my bathrobe. And when I open up the bathroom door, all of a sudden I see Michelle running in the bedroom, slamming, like pushing the bedroom door, and locking it. And as she locks it, I see the door bust wide open, and here he comes flying in the room. He jumps on Michelle. They're on the floor. He's on top of her, and he's literally choking Michelle the hell out, okay? And I'm screaming at him like, get off of her, get off of her, get off of her. And the thing about me is that I felt like I'm not going to fight a man. I told her don't let this man in the house. So it's like I was pissed that now I have to defend you from this man killing you. I'm not going to lie. I did not jump in. I was screaming at him to get off of her. Because in my head, I said, you know what? I'm not about to fight this damn demon. All right. It's like he had superpowers. Keep in mind, this guy is skinny. He's skinny like Snoop Dogg skinny. He's not as tall as Snoop Dogg, but if you don't know who Snoop Dogg is, Google him. He's a rapper. He is tall. I mean, he is skinny like Snoop Dogg, okay? And I don't even care. It seemed like he had supernatural powers. Freaking damn demon. And the way he bust open that door with the lock on it, I felt like I was either going to stab him or I was going to hit him in the head with a bat. Okay, her oldest child runs down, and he happens to convince the man to get off of her ex-husband to get off of her. And eventually he did. He goes into the garage. He takes the oldest son's bike, and he flees on a child's bicycle. Okay, yes, this is a true story. I know it sounds crazy as hell. So he flees on this child's bike. I call the police. I go next door, calling for the neighbors to come out. The neighbors, somehow, this damn man has convinced even the neighbors that she's the crazy one, okay? The neighbors are like, well, we don't want to get involved. We're sorry. We'll call the cops for you, and all this stuff. They just was not trying to get involved, pretty much. And this happens a lot when you're in a marriage or in a relationship with the narcissist. The narcissist has convinced your family, your doctors, your neighbors, your lawyers, everybody that you're the crazy one, okay? And this is why you got to get rid of them. Because they completely turn your life upside down. They couldn't even find this guy, all right? You know what he was? He was being held and being protected in her own aunt's house. One of her aunts let him come stay with her. I don't know if she was trying to get some from him because she's an older woman. I don't know if she was trying to get some sex from him or what, but she believed this damn demon over her own niece, and she basically let this guy stay in her house, okay? That experience was enough for me, and I ended up getting a flight as soon as I could, and I left Texas, and I have not been back to that part of Texas since then. That was traumatic for me, like having to see her being choked out. Like, he could have killed her. He could have choked her to death. Okay. Yes, I think it's very rare that narcissists do kill, but yes, some narcissists will kill. Yes, sociopaths will kill you and, kill you in their lunch break and then go right back to work like nothing ever happened. And it's like, why would you? Don't let it get to that point where the narcissist is about to kill you. When you're in these abusive relationships, when someone's talking to you like you're crazy, when people are pointing out to you how this person is treating you, let them go. Let them go. Why would you continue to want to be abused? God can't give you anything better until you take your trash out. Okay? So, basically, from what I've seen, and this is a very extreme case of narcissism with him. And he was raised by a narcissist. His mother's a narcissist. And it always seemed as if he wanted to punish my friend Michelle. It was like he hated his mom, so he wanted to punish and take everything out on every woman. Anytime she defended herself, he said, "Oh, you remind me of my mother." And the same thing with my ex-best friend. He hated his mom, who was a narcissist, and his dad was a codependent. And he always compared me to his mother too. I don't know if y'all experience this, but I feel as if even if they're straight or gay, it's as if they hate the opposite sex of their parents. Like, if it's a narcissistic man, he usually hates his mother. That's just something that I noticed. If it's a narcissistic woman, she usually hates her father. And that has been with all of the narcissists that I've experienced that with. I'm not sure if psychologists talk about that, but that is with every narcissist that I've experienced. They had horrible relationships with the opposite sex of their parents. Okay. And it is really sad. It's as if you have to pay for whatever their mama did or whatever their daddy did to them. Okay, so whenever you feel like you're in a relationship or a friendship and somebody is basically using you as an emotional punching bag, you gotta let them go. Okay. And one thing I realized is that sometimes God will let traumatic experiences like that happen to you in order to force you out of the situation. I don't think that she would have walked away if she almost didn't get killed. Okay, so yeah, she's not with him. He comes around once in a blue for his children, but she's in another relationship now. So he's pretty much a punk. He will beat on her. He will beat on women. He will be abusive to women. But when he's around a man, he's not like that. And a lot of narcissists are punks. When you challenge them, they will back down. When you're showing some type of strength, they basically will back down. Okay, that's the story I have for you today. I will continue to make more videos. Hopefully this information was useful or entertaining. Peace and blessings. I'll talk to y'all soon.